two, one, and you're on.
And we're on. Welcome, everybody, to the Angora Poets World Cafe, where you're about to listen to poets and writers and performance artists who hail from the deep recesses of the four corners of our planet. That's why we're in the World Cafe and why people are invited to come on tonight. And in the future, you can find us on YouTube as Angora Poets. We have a website, 3w.angorapoets.com. And we're on Facebook as Angora Poets. And we're on so many damn places, sometimes I dream of Angora Poets. So welcome aboard. And we have a nice group of people tonight from various locations with various sentiments of creative expression. And I would like to know if someone would like to go first. Would someone like to go first this evening? Or shall I break the ice by reading some poet's poem?
Do the latter, Mo.
Okay. Well, then let's get this started. What we have here, folks, is a collection of poetry by recently deceased world-class New York City poet Steve Delashinsky, who was a dear friend of mine and passed away in September. So that would be 16 months ago. We've been talking romance poetry lately, and here's a poem by Steve, and the collection is called Where Night and Day Becomes One. And this is called Your Hands. I want you here, but not your hands. The wind extends the branched leaves into a storm, like waves breaking on the morning air. The leaves have fallen from the shadows to silhouettes, to solids, at night, slowly becoming morning. I am living inside my head, always, with dead things and islands I mistook for solids. There are no longer reasons why I can't sleep. It's a given. I live inside my head, where I see your hands dying as they turn to valleys and collapse into themselves, becoming silhouettes and shadows of solid trees, as your skin becomes a thin casing for disappearing bones, like the skin of a drum wearing thin, the bones becoming brittle relics, splintered sticks barely able to beat out a message or hold a glass. Saint Philomena was martyred for giving herself to God. Another cute virgin lost to spirit and wind. Another legend that became a cult. A mummy made into heroic outlaw, softened, beautified, and invented. Most of all, invented. Like a good story, leathery skin, milky bone of dust, unrecognizable, and DNA tested. Dated artifacts, and the reason for pilgrims to dream. I dream as they do, that you might be miraculously cured. So I might want all of you here with me right now as the sun begins to cross the roofs across the way, and the wind makes the leaves into hands.
Beautiful poem.
Yeah. Steve Delashinsky in his memory. Oh, okay. So now that I've broken the ice, I have the liberty of calling on people to present. And I know somebody that's always right out of the chute. Oh, I see your finger. Dalila, would that be you? Well, then come on with it. Dalila Zegar, everybody.
Hello, everybody. I read to you some poetry in French, and I was very sad last time to realize that some of you were not understanding what I was doing. Since the majority is writing in English, I said, well, since I was able to write a PhD thesis in English, I may have some maybe potential to write poetry in English. So I tried today. I hope you're gonna like it. Ready?
Ready.
Yep.
It's the first time that I'm writing poetry in English. I'm not going to read the part in French since I just translated what I wrote, in fact. Is that okay? Or do you want to hear both? C'est pas bon, both, pieces.
Well, you've just said so, Dalila, so why don't you read it in English?
Okay. The story of an old lady. I went to the post office to retrieve some money. It was full of people. I found a seat to wait for my turn. An old lady with a beautiful brisk walk entered. No one tried to stand up and leave her their seat. I waved my hand and asked if she wanted my seat. She came closer and said, "Let's share the seat." So we were close. We talked with ease about general things as if we had been friends for a long time. With sweet energy and deep joy, with ease, she told me the story of her life. My husband died and left me the house, and I came to get his retirement money. Satisfied with her day, spent at home, at the market, and at the post office, she said, "My son's wives are not housewives. They work outside and live with me. They have always asked me not to take care of the housekeeping or prepare the food for everyone, but I am so happy with what I do." Faced with such a healthy energy, I validated her. "Well, the house is yours. You have the money. You like what you are doing. You are happy. So carry on."
Well, all right. Come on out with it. Sisters are doing it for themselves. All right. That's it. All right, Dalila, did you have a second piece for us?
I prefer not. I prefer to go slowly and get into English as if it were my familiar language. I was just very, very shy. And so I'm going to listen to all of you.
Okay. Well, bless you, sister, for that, because some people who aren't ready to deliver their poetry just gush right forward with it. And you have the circumspection to avoid that. Very good. Thank you. So now I want to hear from someone I haven't heard from in a couple of weeks, and that's Christopher Sims out of Illinois. Hello, Christopher. Must have caught him on a bathroom break. You better come out that bathroom, Christopher. All right, then I would like to switch it over to the judge. Now, we call this man the judge because if you want to hear what's going down, particularly with blunt, opinionated honesty, we call him the judge. Bill Strangmeyer. On you, Bill.
Okay. George Eliot wrote, "And bad literature of the sort called amusing is spiritual gin." Call this spark of illusion. I watch the TV show within my head, the changing cast of characters at play, and all the scenes and fictions passing for a fantasy, ambitious to become a film that would replace or edit what's projected onto senses taunted by the feed that lulls us into credence of what passes for the cryptic and equivocal old real. A current runs in channels underneath the skin of what we call the truth, and rises seldom into sight, like seeing sudden faces, vivid, multi-jeweled, oh look, that come out into vision as if hidden beings stealing bodies like an angel or a beast that has been hidden deep within the envelope of personality we think might be a mask. Why do the misers of pennies and pelf keep us working upholding a stupid way of doing ill, supported by an abstract stream of barter tokens meant to keep coarse haggle well aswarm? Why, to focus all eyes on the ball and the dance and to keep us from knowing their world isn't real, that the hatreds, the races, position and class and the violence and theft are a prank. And neither can we live beneath the surface of the ocean that supports the walkers on the waves who will not see and deeply fear the life that's hidden in the folds of things that we deny. But their credo, practical and tightly set, is much too difficult and stressful for the ones who see the veins and glimmers, casting doubt on all the imitation doors and phony codes and jails. I will awake, and swim along the silver streaks of meanings you let drop onto the cardboard traffic signs and trompe-l'oeil asphalt walls in cities set up on a hill of beans, with secret torture tools and poison meals and magic leisure formulations, casting conduct onto stilted minds, creating blinded bullies trained to drive down hearts and souls. I am no longer strapped into my past designs, put into place by sensing, hating golem automats and loving butts of their own peasant fear and adoration of the evil king who sends out flying monkeys, angry rhinos, lets loose tigers, slimy thieves, and gathers gold to sit upon as high as heaven like a god, who is, they are, another figment like the bullies keeping covert order in the cartoons they call life. Oh no, I slipped again into their fear and anger, but I seek still the streaks and hollows peering through the tawdry tissue of the make-believe we're sold each day by mongers of the traps and glue. The search is ancient, harking back to disappointment, seeking to renew the golden age we lost that wasn't really golden, made for false promises it couldn't keep because it couldn't pay the cost of unrequited love of gain, of hunger caused by broken trust, of sorcery turned towards murder's plane, all brought down to us by the idea of sales, of payment for slavery, of a bandit's notion they call profit or gain. We cannot see the way ahead because of all the poisoned seeds from out Eurasian steppes, and what now drives us blindly is the bloodthirst from the Aryans grown and fired over centuries of sin. And now the meaning's coming clearer than before as bruised and bullied minds awaken to their pain, bestowed upon our childhood heads in pontification, pederasty, run by preachers, teachers, TV fools, by presidents and moralizers on the pulpit of the pretend meritocracy, of business and of war and theft. Too small and taught up minds to see the way to, let's say, God through the rude screen of the statal church. But now the meanings somehow come too high and low of mind that only rebellion is the moral way for any justice, any peace to come about before the key is turned on mankind locked in sci-fi cages, while fat travesties of former humans eat themselves to piggish apotheosis as the last to putrefy and die in kitschy lies about the nature of the very life they will have spent all history in fear to mortify and buy. But I do not propose a suicidal charge or barricades of death or the heroism of the ancient worlds, still less the murder of the shibboleth or sibboleth, for all the masters hide themselves in castellated forts, in the toys they say we need for laughter, or behind the shouting voices of the clowns who whip you on. I will rebel against the fear, the empty hole created by the fear, the thought that one's more worthy than the rest.
God damn, Bill. All right. Ooh, 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 ooh. Say it, man. Wow. All right. You are anything but docile, my brother.
We do what we can.
I'll bet you could stand up a cup of coffee. You got a second one for us, Billy?
Yeah, on a similar theme, quote from Daniel C. Dennett, Consciousness Explained. Postulating special inner qualities that are not only private and intrinsically valuable, but also unconfirmable and uninvestigatable is just obscurantism. I call this young in the mind. There's another world, a different world, and it coexists with ours. And if you can travel far and wide and never leave the bar or the bed or your mother or school or your yard, then this is where you are. Good number of you have never been and probably never will go to this country I'm talking about, but it is right here as we're talking now, and I wish you could get it straight. There are many who think that the government's real or that heaven can enter their lives or that living can challenge the gods and the fates, but reality halters and blinkers their minds and the dish ran away with the spoon. So brag of your money, your youth or your screws, your sensitive Arabist soul. You're shutting the door to the penniless world where Victorians dig in the dark and where Martians talk dirty to girls so that mankind won't mean what it thinks. It does serve a purpose, this philanderer's world, a purpose I may not describe. For the spies come in colonies, suck and destroy and believe what they're spreading is free. So I'll end up right here not having said much, perhaps just too much for your good. Go write it down now, what in childhood they said, and remember the stars in your eyes.
Okay, Billy. All right. Okay, my man. You know how we do. Three's a charm.
Okay.
Go ahead and charm, baby.
Okay, a metro poem. I call this Allocarnation. Trotsky and Gurdjieff old now, boarding the train I am on, bearded and white, and see, they now can teach no pain. They are old, and there, the Hitler trembles with choleric eye as some are calm, filling up the old boys, memories and epics still alive, still faces wearing bodies. They advertise the way they marked an age and ate and were its thoughts of what would be. Thank you.
Thank you. Boy, those landed. All right. Thank you, Bill Strangmeyer. Some words from the judge. And now I'd like to introduce one of the two people here for their first time from originally from the country of Albania and now living in New Jersey. So why don't we start with you, Emira? Would you like to present something?
Sure. Thank you very much. So I would like to read the poem Love for My Homeland, which got published in the international anthology On the Road by the Poet literary magazine in Great Britain 3 days ago. I'll try to share the page so you can also read it. Can you make it able for me, please, to share the poem, or you can?
I just did. Is that sharing?
You just did. Okay, I'm trying it again because host disabled participant screen sharing, it says.
Okay, well. Wow.
It's not allowing me. That's okay. I'll read.
It's okay. Hold on a second. I got you. Let me give you.
Here's the man. Here's Officer Scott from the Starship Enterprise. Scotty.
Officers.
Turn her on, Scotty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Captain. My captain. All right. All right. Multiple births. We got something.
I can't share it, so I'll read it.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, you can share it now.
Let me try. Where am I now?
Click the share button or share screen.
Yes, I can.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Love for my homeland. I love your playful style, Albania. Since I was a baby, still a gentle child, plunged myself blissfully on your gusty roads, where my dream altered into a butterfly, chasing my shadow toward avant-garde. I love your prodigious coastline, rivers, valleys, the belly laugh of love coiling on roses, melodious sounds, dance steps, moccasins, the echo, the zest of the flattering dances, the capricious sorceress of the wild tribes, unfolding the vivacity of the artifice. I love your rough street cobblestones, loaded with legendary solo verses, as much as I love the sound of warning sirens, mixed with the morning echo of church bells tolling. Oh, great bells shaking the city hall tower, announcing our life is anchoring another hour. I love the unusual roads, all full of noises, bearing the heavy trotting of the gusty horses. Those rough roads no one dreads to walk, not even loose beggars or street dogs. Equally, I love the death in your rumpled bed, the colorful homage, the hymns, the morning poems, even the pain piercing your noble soul as a frightening, muddy water stream blackening the new petals of your spring. I love the solemnity in the rite of death. Thus our life makes a lot more sense. For after birth, life string is tied to death. For after death, the soul transcends. I love your unique cycle of eternity, the firing sun, the brightness of daylight, switching to a pitch black night, two intrinsic parts, and the yin yang in universe.
All right. That was very good. Thank you. And congratulations for getting it published in that national magazine. Do you have a thank you. Do you have a second one for us?
I do have a second one. Would you like me to read this in Albanian too, so you get a glimpse of how Albanian language sounds?
What do you think, people? Should she read in her native language? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Hell
Okay, I like that. um, 1 second, please. I have it ready. I'll share it with you again. So, 1 second, please. Where am I now? I'll read it in Albanian because I can't get it sharing. I think I didn't, your screen. Okay, stop share first.
Okay.
Then I'll share it now.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
Të dua vendlindje. Të dua lozonjare vendlindja ime, që kur foshnjë isha, ende një fëmijë një uzak. Te krillesha ullve të tua plot gaz, ku ëndra më bëj flutur e më ndiqte pas. Ti dua bregdetin, lumenjt dhe luginat, të qeshurin e dashurisë hardalisur trëndafilash. Tingujt melodios, hapat dhe opingat, të dua i honën gjatërinë e vadhen, magjistaren çapkëne të tribuve që çmbështjellin koloritin jetësor të trupeve. Ti dua ullët e kallxhëmta, ngarkuar me tingujt e legjendave, po aq ti dua edhe tingujt e sirenave, përzirën me ushqimin e kambanave dhe dingdongun e sahatit të bashkisë, kur lajmëron se një orë tjetër e jetës po nis. Ti dua ato rrugë ndonse plot zhurmë, nga trokitja e kuajve kryeneqe të hasdisur, ti dua ato rrugë ku nuk druhen të ecin as qenë rrugaq e as lypsit e villisur. Po
Okay.
aq e dua dhe mortin në shtratin tënd, me homazhet shumë ndryshe dhe këngët e vajit, dhe ndimjen që përshkon shpirtin tënd si rrymë e frikshme uji që nxin petalet e majit. E dua rritin e vdekjes, se jetës i jep më shumë kuptim, se pas lindjes ka vdekje dhe pas vdekjes ka tjetërsim. E dua ciklin unikal të përjetësisë, shkëlqimin e dritës që ndron me natën e zezë shtëpis, dy pjesë të pandara të yin-yangut në univers.
All right. Amira, that was a wonderful sounding poem, and thank you for presenting the text. I was looking at your language and could not interpret a single word, but yeah, at least I got to see it. But I
Universe.
did, but I did hear the Greek, the Illyrian, and the Latin in your language.
You did feel it.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I couldn't spell it, I couldn't say it, but I heard it.
The advantage of Albanian language is that as you read it, the way you write it, but it has 36 letters. So until you know the alphabet, you can't read Albanian.
36 letters, and
Yes.
I have limited storage capacity. That's why I don't know what's going on. Can you give us a third poem in English?
I do. I can read another poem that was published. It's about New York. A winter night in New York. I'll share it with you. I'll try. And this, again, was published in the Poet magazine. A winter night in New York. Streetlights flickering over the snowflakes uncovered their nakedness. Soprano voice echoing along the hallways broke the silence of a winter's night. Heavy steps stumbling down the stairs crashed the ice into crystals overshining the trays. A generator truck feeding the surgery room, a newborn cry releasing a prolonged sigh. Stores switching off their lights, yellow taxi cabs slowing down their rides. Macy's window displayed lights sticking out as teasing tongues. Goodnight laughs fading away in the darkness of midnight. Snowflakes are winning the fight over Moulin Rouge red lights. Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges resting, blinking the eyelids. Cities slowly tuning down its music until dawn echoes. An extra sounding in the backyard. Fireflakes hitting the hearts inside. Between the fire and the snow, the frozen crystals sinking into dreams. Snowboard and shovel noise cheating the twilight. Green light melting the frozen crystal in the coffee machine. Espresso brewing and sipping sound fills the air in the room. Outside the window, white sheets have ironed the streets. White veil covering the waves like beauty queens. Seagulls doubled their fur and kissed snowflakes' lips. Bird song fainting through snow layers so thick. Looking heavy and tired, wondering if the snow slept all night or talked with the ground in exchange of their kingdom's dreams. Snow White reining the kingdom overnight, shining king glimpsing its glazing sunlight. Dawn conquering the frozen crystal, delivering the exchange of kingdoms with the overnight queen. Next morning, city wakes up brewing its foamy beer in unending cycles.
Okay, all right. What is it? Snowflakes on the sidewalk where they sleeping overnight. That is, to paraphrase you, that is such a cool image.
Oh,
Well, you took me through a very nice night in Manhattan, and that is really like it can come down the way you described it, both creatively and realistic portrait. Okay.
Thank you. I read it intentionally to give you a glimpse of New York, to remind you of New York.
Okay. All right. So now if you'll remove that script.
I will.
Again.
I'm
Here
sorry.
we go.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
Stop share.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we're going to welcome you back in the second round. As now we welcome, now Christopher Sims is back in the room. You were tardy the last time we called on you. I hope you had a hall pass. So calling on you, Christopher. Over to
You
you.
caught me while I'm at the end of munching on a granola bite here.
Okay, spit it out, brother.
I'm gonna do an oldie but goodie, but I'm gonna add a little rhythm to it. I got words, you got words, dun dun. 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 I am a word warrior, sorcerer of sonic sounds who infinitely bounds the beauty of the universe, which I bring to life through verse. I'm a word warrior. I'm at a harmony with the heaven within. Once I meditate heavily, my diction becomes medicine. Once I focus and then begin, the universe transcends space and time. I rhyme with the divine. I am a word warrior. I use words as weapons to combat ignorance, negativity, and self-destruction. Each word is encoded with instructions to annihilate regressive activity. It's instilled with peace and positivity so we discover our talents, gifts, abilities. Word warrior. Creating cosmic dialect not yet found. I'm connected to beauty, to passion, to fire. I am rhyme and reason. I am rhyme and reason. Dun, dun. I am rhyme and reason. Dun, dun. Word warrior. And that's that piece.
All right. Somebody needs to mute, I think. And I'm going to ask you to save your messages to one another until the poet is finished so that we can listen to the poet and compliment our friends between poems. If that's okay, let's do that. And let's welcome Samaher. Hello, Samaher. Sam, how are you?
Hello there. I'm good. How are you doing?
Where in the world are you at this moment?
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you there? Okay, we'll get back to you, Sam.
Hello?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Hello.
Where in the world are you at this moment?
I'm here. Is it working? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm good.
And I'm asking, with that beautiful setting you're sitting in, where are you?
I'm at a friend's garden in her place. It's a bit noisy here, so I'll just mute it now so you can continue.
Okay. Are you in France or are you in?
Yeah. I'm in Paris. I'm in Paris.
Okay, we're gonna call on you to read in a bit. You know that.
Sure.
Okay, one of our core Angora poets.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
Same here.
Mo's muted.
Mo needs to be muted because we need to hear from Karen Scott, and she needs to be there. Come on, Karen.
Okay. This first one is called Retrospect. We should have seen the swell coming. We saw what happened in other countries long before the first crest broke over our shores. As the tide began to rise, plans hastily made, we ran for our homes, hunkered down inside, hoping not to be swamped. When we noticed the waters slowly receding, some of us became impatient to be outside, splashing through puddles, reveling in freedom, oblivious to the looming reemergence. A few of us knew from geography lessons and newsreels how the waters of a coastline recede moments before the surge. The wary among us scan the horizon, looking for the second wave, praying it will not be a tsunami. That's the end of that one.
Amen on that. Yeah, you have a second one, Karen?
I do.
Good.
This one is called Monsters, and the epigraph is from the Eric Church and Jeff Hyde song, Monsters. And it's, I've learned that the monsters ain't underneath the bed. Monsters. The headline, 6-year-old found dead after disappearing from front yard, validates my fears, justifies years of not allowing my daughter to play in our front yard or roam the neighborhood, only letting her play in the backyard if the dog or I were out there. My fears fueled by the statistic that every 40 seconds a child goes missing somewhere in the US. I used to read King and Kuntz, revel in horror and suspense, But the day I became a mother, that came to an end. The first day I took my infant to a festival, I wondered later that night, how many psychopaths have I exposed her to today? A true crime aficionado, I know bright lights attract monsters more than porch lights attract moths. Monsters do not understand the light, seek out the pure and innocent to maim, defile, destroy. And my daughter is a very bright light. Souls gravitate toward her like the dead gravitated to the little girl in Poltergeist. There is a proverb that says to be a mother is to have your heart forever walk around outside your body. We want to protect them from everything, but can't really protect them from anything at any age. No matter how old they get, a monster is waiting. That's the end of that one.
Sorry to hear that side of reality. Yeah, and about that's so true. A mother is someone who, for their lifetime, wears their heart on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have another one for us, Karen? You
Yeah,
know the charm.
I got an oldie.
Okay, oldie but goodie.
This one is called Blooms. In the midst of daily annoyances, I noticed the viburnum by the front door has bloomed. In the middle of all the should-haves and should-bes, I noticed the grape hyacinths at the corner of the house have bloomed. In the middle of economic woes, I noticed the tulips on the side of the house have bloomed. In the middle of global unrest and social chaos, I noticed that the bleeding hearts have bloomed. In the middle of depression, hope blooms. And that's that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're muted, Mo.
There we go. Let's see who's in the house. We have another first timer who comes to us from near Cleveland, South Euclid, is it? Doc. Okay, Doc, come on for your first time here with Angora Poets and read for us.
Thank you. I wrote this after being in a local park a couple of times last month. Rushing waters, cool sparkle of air, soft rustle of leaves on silken hillsides of green, and light dappled wind shadow neath slow dance of cloud striated sky. Cantabile susurration of slow golden breeze and ancient ageless arc of sun. Immeasurable dimensions of time, each day scented with unique essence. Blue-gray stone speaks in numinous silent whisper and articulate sacred tone of earth and nature, of ancient born, of eldritch magic and birth among the stars. Hint of distant music, siren summons of seas, and age-old calls of birds. Echo in plangent call of a jay. Elegance arriving on wings of blue. All breathed from Gaia's heart midst sacred memories of hoar-rhymed past and unknown future. Within translated feelings and moments, thoughts well of the impossible becoming half-conscious, dulcet dreams of the possible coalescing into phantasms. Memories of memories cross pathways of longing, woven of sensuous sunlight and velvet shadow, ethereal looms of time stretching, uncharted, to the other side of the stars, to vanish into the immense silence of infinity. I travel through myself to find me, and words become worlds of light as I become who this place, this moment says I am. Thank you.
That's a walk through nature. I like that. When people ask me about God, I say, yeah, God, great outdoors. Do you have a second one for us, poet?
Absolutely. Impalpable presence of tangled, endless entropy, fractured luminous lexicon, and fragmented future. Seductive sitars sing of pinprick glowing gyres and gimbaled galaxies and bacchanal behind loquacious mirthful mists and random rainbows of dappled dark matter. Bull-eyed heart bursts into constellations of love and jeweled paeans of passion midst tremblant worlds woven of stardust dreams, sensory questing and winding tunnels of time to dance in ecstatic convergence of forever.
Thank you. Yeah, that was nice. Okay, and Doc, poet Doc, who by the way, people who just joined the room, is the poet laureate of South Euclid, Ohio.
And
and he has a third poem for us. Give us the charm, Doc.
It's a very short one. It's comprised of phrases I picked up in another open mic. It's titled Late Day Shadows. Colors of simplicity stack moments among late day shadows in a song which never ends.
Thanks, Doc. Good to have you on board. Stay around for the second round. Everyone will be invited back. And
I am.
So now I would like to bring on someone we met a couple weeks ago who graced us with his poetry, and his name is Mervin. Mervin Seawright. How you doing, Mervin?
Good. I'm good.
Well, it would be good to hear some of your work.
Okay. So, memories of John Lewis, who passed away Friday. This poem is called Touching Selma. It was about my first visit to Selma. In fact, I've only gone once, but it took a while before I challenged myself to be there. So,
and may I add, right, correctly, John Lewis was an activist in Selma, right?
Yes, he was part of the Bloody Sunday event that happened. They marched there 3 times, but the first time the events weren't so good. So that's what this poem is kind of touching on. My hand shivering on cold, round, white iron rivets of this bridge. Puzzle pieces to the arc of this bridge-sized birdcage. Wondering why colored people, birds, could never fly through the gate over half a century ago. Those birds. Whereas the ivy connecting the poplar trees down the shores of the Alabama River. Standing on this bridge, car fumes brought 1965 memories of tear gas suffocating 500 people walking 2 by 2 to scatter as ants blown from their path. Scatter their steps off Edmund Pettus Bridge, bringing sounds of horse hooves trotting, with law officials striking the law away, marking memories to stain a warning in blood-red clay dirt. 500 battered, bullied, bathed in a lawful lie, leaving with no escaping path. Crickets in the trees by the bridge whisper a Sunday hymn of pain.
Right on, brother. And good that someone who came after that period knows their history and wishes to express it creatively. That's also of such great value. Poets are voices of the people. Poets are historians. Would you do a second piece, Marvin?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Um, this is touching on a collection that I'm trying to publish. Bits and pieces are being published, but it kind of deals with battles with my father, or my stepfather rather. So this is called A Man's Demons. My stepfather could be kind when his hidden demons did not plague decisions I discerned. A child could only analyze actions, shadows reflecting the body, motions to mimic, wrestling with the waves causing callous repercussions, creating chameleon reactions from what my teen vision saw. I observed a man whose hands painted mastery, Michelangelo's student touching his canvas. One could feel a man's face. I observed a man whose voice was soulful enough a stranger debating marriage would buy her wedding ring. I observed when his hands weren't moving, when the theater was empty. Echoes rose of tales he kept to himself, voices from the demons that plagued him, gave him his vices, filling glasses, rising temper, spreading anger, drinking, puffing, smoking, choking a life, stagnating work promotions, taking shallow steps towards goals. A peeled banana softened, blackened, losing firm grounding around himself. Maybe the pressures of military life and death darkened visions from friends never forgotten. Maybe the pressure of social behaviors of blended family caused misery. Maybe the pressure coming to his hometown after 2 decades, finding old friends, riding the same street, corners, and blocks became his framework to live. Maybe I still may love him. His decisions left my mother in an unmarked grave.
Ooh, okay, ooh. Keeping it real, brother, keeping it real. Woo. Do you have a three's a charm for us, Mervin?
Yeah, this last piece was recently selected for 3rd place in a poetry contest out of Vermont. It will be published later this year, but it's a pantun called Can You Taste the Ivory Coast Chocolate? His tears at night dampened his wooden plank bed. Throbbing bones, sliced skin, bruised back from whippings. Losing count in his 10th winter, memories of the night seized quietly in Molly's trees at play. Throbbing bones, sliced skin, bruised back from whippings. Lost, a mouse with no cheese to guide, no paths back. After being seized quietly in Molly's trees at play, he is driven by his fear, far from home. Lost, a mouse with no cheese to guide, no paths. Machete, guillotine gait, if he scurries. He is driven by his fear, far from home. Farming cocoa beans when the sun is shown. Machete, guillotine gates, if he scurries. Duplicating days, climbing trees, slicing. Farming cocoa beans when the sun is shown. Dragging dense bags of cocoa pods, shuffling. Duplicating days, climbing trees, slicing. A single pod placed in hand, skin slicing. Dragging dense bags of cocoa pods, tussling. He helps slowing, moving friend, whip, slicing. A single pod placed in hand, skin slicing. Strength from corn paste and banana eating, He helps slow-moving friend, whipped slicing. No gas mask spraying toxic fumes on trees. Strength from corn paste and banana eating. Bugs feel fumes now, his fumes compiled mildly. No gas mask spraying toxic fumes on trees. The wind sparsely hints him of family. Bugs feel fumes now, his fumes compile mildly. Losing count in his 10th winter, the nights, the wind sparsely hints him of family. His tears at night dampen his wooden plank bed.
Wow. Okay. All right, Marvin. Who is this individual of whom you speak of?
Is research of, there was like several documentaries about kids being stolen from Mali and being used in the Ivory Coast for the chocolate plantations. And so just doing the research, I followed a couple stories of boys that had gone through it. And when they came out of it, they were telling what they went through. And one individual mentioned, he says, well, how do you feel about chocolate now? You know, he says, well, when you eat chocolate, you taste my blood.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Whoa. Talk about a rap. That's a rap, brother. Okay. So we'll hear you in the second round. And thank you very much. And we have another face on board now. And her name is Maram. Did I say that right? Maram?
Hello, yes, it's Maram, or
And
Maram, if it's easier.
oh, and where in the world are you at this moment?
I am in Paris right now.
Okay. It's a lovely city, I hear.
Yes, it's a bit tough. It's not as much crowded in the meantime, but usually it is.
Okay, so are you a Parisian then, Maram?
No, I am an Arab.
Okay, well, that's a big place. Like, where in that place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What national origin? What country do you hail from?
I am from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, how nice.
Yes.
You may be our first poet from Saudi Arabia. So that's an extra welcome on board.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's give the sister a hand coming in from Saudi Arabia, where you watch what you say. Okay. All right, so now I'd like to move over and come over to Ghana. We were talking about the Ivory Coast and Mali. How about a poet from Ghana? Hello, Benedicta. Hello, Benedicta.
Hi, Maury.
Hi, Benedicta.
I hope my sound is clear.
Your sound is real clear, Benedicta, real clear.
Sorry, I came in late. I was sleeping, so I just woke up.
Well, what's on your mind? Wake us up with what's on your mind, Benedicta.
Oh, there's a lot on my mind, Joe. I hope you're all fine.
Okay, let's hear your poem, Benedicta.
Okay. So the first one I shared on Twitter, and it's captioned Game of Thought. Is my sound clear?
Yes. Yes. Mm-mm.
Emblems of melancholic language, paces, restlessness, and a touted defense in replica, vague notions of perceptible demeanor, hurdles courtesied in chances of outcome, guesses of attempts yielded by choice, the treasure hunt of uncertainty. That's the first one. I hope it was clear.
Yes, it was. Comes right out of the chute, very strong. How about another poem, Benedicta?
Okay, I think I wrote this evening. Let's see how it goes. The frightful yearn of innermost workings, an uneasy pause, substitutes and perplexity, illustrated in turbulence and enigmatic tense, which by his looks he depicts an earnest shower of grace. The device of passionate readiness in resolute occupants, bravery without sense, resistless force even to his breath, impracticable serfs and bewilderment, tumult in undisclosure, rapports of friendship, tainted in miniature urban proposals. In the nick of time, I get saved by the bell. Opposing forces removed, just as I am, I lay adrift. That's the second one.
Right. Thank you. And how about Three's a Charm, Benedicta?
Okay, let's hold on. I think that one will be shorter. So the third one, the zest of a breeze, whispers that whisk, shaded outlets, outdated in the mysterious wand, steps and traces, a pictorial view to unravel. That's about it.
That's about a lot. Thank you, Benedicta. That's
You're
very nice.
welcome.
And there you are, characteristically writing those short poems. That's nice. That's
As
a skill.
usual.
That's a skill. Okay, stay with us. And let's go over to somebody. Tell you what, I haven't heard in a while from Vicky. Hello, Vicky.
Hello.
Okay, Vicky. Can you present for us now?
Yes, I'm grateful to be here. Last week I came for my first time. I was not able to speak. So I went to the dollar store. My grandson went to the dollar store and got me a $15 headset. And this week I'm back and I am elated to be able to share some of my poetry with you.
Likewise, we're glad you're here.
I have 5 chat books that are free with my poetry in them. And the name of the series is called Oladeji's Poems Undercover. And the reason it's named that is because I'm so glad to be under a book cover. I have over 3,000 poems that never been published. So this young guy from Heyman Production put all my poems into 5 little chat books, and he's been giving them away for free. So if anybody wants one of my chat books, you go to Heyman Productions on Facebook, and he will send you a copy, or he'll send you all 5 copies. So I'm gonna read from that.
And Vicky, please post whatever address connection to that publisher, on our conversation thing, so we can write it down. Okay.
Okay.
So let's hear you. Yes, please.
Yeah, I only have one time to make a first impression, and last week Prince read for me, so I'm gonna read one from my free book. This one's called Tongue Study, and it was an award-winning poem from Poetry Soup. And the name of this one is called Volume 1, Rants, Chants, and Lyrics, under Oladeji's Poems Undercover, Tongue Study. Steady it wags, needing to know more about the very thing that causes war, peace, and pain. I study my tongue. Much has been said about the tongue, yet how has it pertained to my own? My tongue has delivered and served. It has given and taken. It has blessed and it has cursed. It has been bitten and it has been written. The tongue can be tied, twisted, curt, sweet, sharp, wagging or bragging. It may be your native tongue or foreign. It may be exciting or boring. If quiet is your tongue, the cat may have it. If you use your tongue to speak ill of the dead, you may challenge a force and be cursing your life's course. The tongue's confessions may sweep out dirty secrets from the corners of your mind. Wise words have fallen on deaf ears, words smothered by pride. Truth escapes lying eyes, ignoring what you saw and twisting what was heard. Tongues may bond with imbeciles or angels. Tongues may bond with imbeciles or angels, forming positive or negative energy. Be careful. Mind your tongue. It's the closest to your own ears and will affect you first, rather before the others hear. Be not at the mercy of an imbecilic tongue. Read their eyes and duck the darts about to be thrown. Do not despise the foreign tongue, for it is the aptitude of the brain, the tunnel to his bilingual. Do not expect the champions to cater to the dunce or those who can barely master their own tongue. In general, I have concluded whether you live by the sword or stand on principles, I had to learn to manage my tongue as I would a loaded gun. I will not justify my tongue when I use this power for the wrong, and neither hold my peace to placate the sword of the unjust. The real power is in the righteousness of the speaking tongue. With those who live by the sharp and sordid tongue and wield words as death blows to the innocent, or those who are silent while others suffer, may also die by the mighty tongue or by the holding of it. Tongue study. Mama Oladeji, Vicky Aqua, the all-around queen, in the building.
Well, thank you, Mama Omade. Now, okay, Mama, why don't you give us a second poem?
Okay. I have a second one pulled up here. I think Mo wanted me to do one from last week, but I'll do that on another session. I'll do The Newly Homeless. Now, this is from my book, Oladeji Undercover, Volume 5, Politics. She sits on the ground in front of the seniors building where I stand. Oh no, there's a fire truck going past me. She sits on the ground in front of the seniors building where I live, staring into oblivion, trying to figure out or understand how she got there. She had food to eat, and she could not eat. Nowhere to go, no keys, no electricity. It was only a few days ago that she cooked in her kitchen. Now she sits on the ground and screamed out, I have food and I can't even eat. Hunger, desperation, confusion plagued her fragile existence. There was no one left to care. Jail or death. When yesterday, before the lights went out, before the locks were changed, she had hope. She wailed out again, the most critical issue of all the issues. I have food and I can't even eat. And then she retreated within where she could soulfully question herself, but found no answers. And again, she stared profusely into nowhere and made no more sounds. The Newly Homeless by Mama Oladeji, Vicky Aqua, all round queen.
All right. Yeah, thank you for keeping it real for us. Do you have threes of charm, Vicky? Mama Olede.
Okay. Premonition. I'll read that one. And that is from Volume 5, Rants, Chants, and Lyrics. Some kill for the wrong reason. Someone will snap, bust a cap, get sick, and bust a lick. There's seldom a season to commit an act like that for settling scores when people are sore. About children held hostage or the school shootings here. Is there a good reason or a wrong reason to do what feels right, even though it's wrong? Is there ever a good time to have an off with their head season because he's on the wrong side of the cause? What about treason? About the bodyguards and the untrusted intelligence? What if they have a moment of clarity and look the other way when in the path of harm's way? Hey, why risk ourselves to save a sellout Hefe, one who does not respect us? Anyway, should have not, wouldn't have not, would not mention his intentions, but this is a premonition. And as the old song goes, if the right one don't get you, well, the left one will. As we sing the words to 16 times in peace.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Vicky. Glad you have your right audio connection this week. Glad to hear it from you. Because, you know, Prince did a good job of reading for you last week, but you do a damn good job reading for yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, too. So now I would like to go to yet another person who's first time with Angora. We have two artists with us tonight originally from Albania. We've heard from one, and now I'd like to invite the second artist. Now her screen, she pushed a button and she can't unjiggle the handle, so she's getting virtual background, and that's cool. So I'd like to call on Ann Laura.
Hello. So I will start by reading a poem which was published in Odyssey, Mediterranean Poetry, and it actually has to do with that virtual background. The virtual background depicts the citadel in Elbasan, where I was born and raised, and this poem concerns my ancestral home within it. It's called Dionysus's Maiden. In this tableau, my grandmother's ankles scab with grape cuticles. The interknee's hapless step rattles the cobblestones as if orphaned cradles. How he seeks succor in my grandmother's stucco house, a block of nougat for his trussed tongue. How the treed pomegranates put together their heads, ancestors caucusing, and the interknee produces his unconsummated deed, a hand missing a finger, and my grandmother lifts her ruddy foot like bounty out of the trough. Pay me the remaining 300 lek, or I'll have your head like the grapes. How the first cousin once removed pincers the house like a boa, vowing to excise the interknee as if a house mouse, so that my grandmother can then impute the house to the cousin's name. How the interknee returns to the house as if a darkling son to his surrogate mother. How the cousin leans like a scepter against the stucco wall he makes a throne, and my grandmother is widowed twice over, a hierodule sans temple. She stomps the grapes to reconstitute her husband.
That goes out with a wham. Okay, and can you give us a second one, please? And if within your three poems, would you please read one in Albania as Ermira did earlier?
Sure. Okay, so this second poem, there's several actually, but I'll go ahead with this one. Just 1 minute, please. For my portfolio, I have yet to publish this, so this is an unpublished, but it was inspired by the relics in ancient Mesopotamia and how they've been colonized. So it's titled Nineveh, Lamasu's Confessions. Men with stake hair, trowel hands, mattock feet evicted me from Nineveh's womb. They broke up the binding of dirt. I had guarded the empires of Tiglath-Pileser, Ashurbanipal, Sennacherib, until Christianity's takeover and Islam's takeover demoted me to dust. Ashur's sentinel neutered. Nineveh encrypted my gypsum with the fingerprints of Ashur's builders and votaries. These foreigners kidnapped me. They said they were excavators. I bled Assyrian poppies from Nineveh to London. They trafficked me to Adam Lowy. He said he was an art historian and brandished the white light scanner. His teammates brandished theirs as if responding to a war cry. They mounted them on tripods. Soldiers behind parapets shooting spectrally broadband illumination at my cleft. Lecherous light striated my body. The psychiatrist's medico-sexual regime. Did you yield to the Maidis's penetration? I excreted a cloud of 1,000,000 data. We are your protectors, dear. The British Museum values your intactness. Now tell us, where may we find the other Lamasu? Faceless, effaced men decapitate my brethren. Their scimitars are sharpened with the colonizer's instructions. They slice with the colonizer's frisson. Lucas Petit, like Balzac's duenna, lassos my neck. He feeds me technicolor hay in the marquee. The horse with the golden eyes, Ashur's sentinel Disneyfied. They carve my likeness from a polyurethane monolith. Exulting in their precision, they have mastered Assyrian artistry, decoded it, produced it, reproduced it, stamped it with their prowess. Mother Nineveh, I languish in their pavilion, my body cancered with their rays. They will graft me to their imperial museum. My gypsum must gleam with peons. To my appropriators' resourcefulness, I must smirk at my inheritors' recognizing gasps, but I will roar like Ashur, Mother Nineveh. Ashur's sculptors will replenish your sons, and you will bar the simulacrum from entering you. You will curse him as the colonizers mocked out mockery of his son. You will set the tigers against him, Mother Nineveh. So, a poem in Albanian.
I'm still trying to catch up with that, but you talk like you're spinning a roulette wheel, woman. That's good. You popping them words out like a ball on a roulette.
Okay, so
could you give us one in Albanian and a brief description about what we are going to hear?
Okay, so poems in Albanian. Let's see from what I have here. Yeah, I think we could probably go with just 1 moment, please. Probably from the Fund collection. I have had a few published in Albania under 2 volumes of poetry. One is titled The End, the other is titled Wiry. So well, it's I mean, let's see. I mean, I would rather, because I haven't actually decided on which one I was going to read for today, so maybe I could do that another time. But what I could do is, could I read a translation of a famous Albanian poet from Albanian into English, and then that might communicate something to everybody.
That would be wonderful. Go ahead with it.
It's a very short poem. The poet is called Visarjiti. Amira is very familiar with his work. He was interred and placed in a gulag-style prison under the former communist regime. So this poem is titled, well, this is my sort of, I mean, as I translated it, I reinterpreted it a little bit. So it's sort of my reconception of that. By the irons of my embrasure. So beautifully sang the nightingale by the ironworks of my embrasure, that the iron bars became greenish, branches of a cherry tree. The floor teemed with warbles. Kneeling, I scooped them up one by one as if they were the crumbs of the bread of life. So this was written while he was in confinement, and it's something I translated recently this summer, actually, and I'm hoping to get it published. I've already sent it out. Next time, I promise I'll have one of my poems in Albanian for you to read.
All right. Well, thank you for the poems you presented now and educating us to your fellow Albanian poets and writers, which we west of you so often lack any background on your culture. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And now I would like to call on Ama, excuse me. Ama, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Good.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to see you.
Okay. So we're listening.
I'm gonna read a new poem. It's called Perennial Plant, and it's P pedal bubble B Z air dump T Y gasp fuse E clouds V G still life R L rush sundown WWWAA justice.
Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna have to take your class to decipher that poem. Okay, so I'm come on to the second one, please.
Oh, my pleasure. Second one here is an oldie but a goodie. It was published by Steve Cannon on his website, A Gathering of the Tribes here in New York City. It's called Autumn in California. Today we're in the middle of a heat wave in New York, so this is longing for something of the past, I guess. Leaves falling, hit the ground, swirls, white pollen engulfs me. I read a book on the path, children playing baseball, women at the salon, kick stone rock path, move bush forward, curved clouds emerge behind the scarlet moon, yellow leaves, twisting thing, the wind, a naked woman, snake strung on her body, a window passes light, raw on her back, a gun on her side. The artist draws, marking her skin, broad, bold, lines intersecting. A photographer snaps pictures of Arthur Ashe's reflection in the mirror, giggles from smokers, watching the artist working. Light passes through the window, an arrow speckled with gold cuts across her back. Her nipples glisten in the light of the night. Seaweed! Seaweed! The Pacific calls. Skinny dippers bathe in moonlight. Whirlpools, smoke rings drift to the sky. Mo, you're on mute.
Well, you didn't miss anything interesting, except your poem was quite good. So can we hear Three's a Charm from you, Ama?
Yeah, and you know, it's funny that you brought up Steve Delachinsky, because I got this poem about Steve. I'm going to share it. It's called The Line. Oatmeal salads of hubris texture. A cold breeze blows, singing low, sweet. A snap, a pop, a crack. It all falls down. Tornado soup, kumquat basil salad, ginger for a snack. Every layer of the onion counts. I said goodbye to my housemate today. A buzz orchestra, the ontology of a lemon, aesthetics of the heart, fascism on the rise, the threat of nationalism, strange fruit. Steve Delachinsky died today, and then I went back to where I started. Nothing was there. I was never there. I was here before you reading this poem. That is a fact. My friend Steve died tonight, and no one is here right now to be sad with me. So I put on Moon Safari by Air. 13th Friday, 13 years since the last full moon on Friday the 13th. Who knew? TKO, Ginger and Maple, both Steves in the same summer. I Dream of Jeannie, the coefficient, not the TV show. The teeth of trees. Can bicycles be friends? Thank you. Everything's been great. Thank you for your help. Bye. The artifact of the tool were Steve Delachinsky's last words. I overdosed on Sun Ra, the ting of metal hitting metal, the sound of Coltrane, feet scrape the concrete, a woman sniffles eating watermelon and cookies, the helicopter passes, all quiet on the Western Front, the pier is gone. I saw Eileen last night, bold to have the scallops, the lid shut, the keys hit the tables, sirens sing, a ship with an LCD billboard in the New York harbor, the FFFU tour moves in, a leaf drops, engine rumble, dry leaf scrapes ground, plane landing, there's beauty in today, the sun shines on the metal umbrella, clouds like coconut whipped cream, the seagull lands. Is it raining at the airport? How about on Saturn? Yellow cranes stand tall, seagulls soar, blue and purple mirror sunglasses go by, Ray-Ban together like the Arab on the beach, Stranger Things. This is a language school, an L equals sign, A equals sign, N equals sign, G equals sign, U equals sign, A equals sign, G equals sign, E, poetry, tick, tock, tock, tick, echo, echo, logi, science. This is where I end. This is where I begin. This is not that, tis, whiz, fizz, lore, surf and turf, sailboat meets ferry, quakes. I'm interested in the line. I'm interested in painting with words on the page, in the air, on the stage. Abstract art.
Yo, I like that. Words on the page and air on the stage. Ain't that about it? Ain't that what it's all about, sis, huh? Ain't it?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like them words on the page that we lay down and then the air on the stage when we let it out, like you just did. All right, very nice. So now I'd like to bring us back home, well, my home anyway, for the moment, to Paris and call on another core Angola. Now that was some kind of slip. Angora. And that was some kind of slip. Right over to Caroline Adler Rico. Hey, Caroline. Bonsoir.
Yeah. So I found Spanish poems. Just wait. Yeah. Zoom was in full screen, so I couldn't see my poems. So it's one of my poems I traduced. No, I think this one I wrote it directly in Spanish. Its name, it's a love poem, but quite surrealist. It takes place in a desert, and there is a whale, and I also speak about a big island in form of a heart, and a man in blue in the middle of the desert.
But of course.
Yeah, totally logic. So, te miraré en los ojos. Te miraré en los ojos y te reconoceré. A veces hay que acercarse hasta tocarse para sentir las dos almas vibrar. Mi corazón era cerrado, cric-crac, escondida por dentro. Has llegado y con ternura, un abrazo, unas palabras, he abierto la puerta. Era un juego. Al salir, estaba sola, sola en el desierto. Aun si el sol quema, aun si no conozco el camino, no quiero encerrarme de nuevo, no quiero. No quiero volver en mi torre de cristal y miedo, no quiero. Ando por el camino con mi soledad. Muy bien la conozco, compañera de siempre. Ando por el camino. Era un juego. Era un juego. Era un juego. El hombre es su propio enemigo. ¿Enemiga mía? No. Salí al sentirte. Salí. Pensaba que era isla grande, nueva tierra. Solo era una ballena llena de amor, pero Jonás ha olvidado salir de su pecho. Se ha quedado por dentro. Y de nuevo me veo sola en el desierto. Ando sola, andando por la arena, por el desierto de piedras, y el sol brilla, mujer azul y canela, color de tierra, blanca y sed, hambre y morena. Mujer llena de vida, en el desierto de su vida, ¿quién la va a descubrir? Hombre azul, hombre de arena y de tierra, hombre salvaje del oasis mítico, hombre del desierto de su vida. Y en pleno desierto se encuentran, se acercan, hasta tocarse, hasta sentirse respirar, soplar. Surge el agua entre las piedras, árboles, flores y palmeras, de agua y de sombra, de amor y no me quedan las palabras. Se van en el viento del océano, alrededor de la isla grande, el corazón, sopla y se van. Se van con él en el viento, se van con él en el agua, agua viva, agua vida, de amor y de... No me quedan las palabras. Se han ido con el miedo, la soledad. Hay cosas que no se pueden contar. Hay cosas que no se dicen. Hay cosas que solo se pueden sentir, vivir, compartir.
Beautiful.
Está.
Beautiful. Okay.
Romántico.
Sí, muy romántico, evidente. Okay. We could hear the love, Caroline. We could feel the love. You have a second one for us, please?
Yes, I got, it will be in French. Some very, it's, well, it will be this one. It's very short.
Brief description.
It's a sort of map of map of the body.
Okay.
It's a poem about desire in time of coronavirus.
Let's hear it.
It's named Topographie sensorielle. Par-delà son t-shirt, je décrypte les affleurements de chair, muscles, articulations, os et tendons. Caresse du regard relève la topographie de son corps. Si je ferme les yeux, du bout des doigts, je sens le grain de peau de son visage, les courbes de ses lèvres, la chaleur de ses mains et des miennes. That's it.
Yeah, okay. Surreal. That was surreal and it hit home. Do you have a charm? Three's a charm? How's
Yeah.
this? Why don't we test your linguability? I just made up that word. And you give us your charm in English. Pull up one in English for us now. You've done Spanish and French.
Well, in English, it won't be mine. It would be a Margaret one. Because I think I just have, I don't know, I've got another poet book next to me. But maybe it isn't in English. No. It's a native poet, but I can't read the original version of her poems.
And who's the poet, please?
The poet was Josephine Bacon. She's an Innu poet, but I can't read the Innu. But it's beautiful. It's very nice. Well, let's read this one. I don't know the poem, so you will discover it with me. It's a Margaret Atwood poem from The Door. It's named Your Children Cut Their Hands. Your children cut their hands on glass by reaching through the mirror where the beloved one was hiding. You weren't expecting this. You thought they wanted happiness, not laceration. You thought the happiness would appear simply, without effort or any kind of work, like a bird call, or a pathside flower, or a school of silvery fish. But now they've cut themselves on love and cry in secret, and your own hands go numb because there is nothing you can do, because you didn't tell them not to, because you didn't think you needed to. And now there is all this broken glass, and your children stand red-handed, still clutching at moons and echoes and emptiness and shadow, the way you did.
Margaret Atwood. And as Karen brought up in her part, and as Karen Scott brought up earlier in the evening, a mother is someone who forever wears their heart on the outside. There's another example of that. Okay, thank you, Caroline. Thank you.
Welcome.
And And now I'd like to call up one of the Angora poets. Quite a romantic from what I hear. Jack Cooper.
We can't hear you, Jack.
You're muted again, Jack.
Muted. I'm muted. Now I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
I'm muted. Did someone mentioned God earlier, and so I thought I would read this piece, which is called God. And it, as a spoiler alert, the Tavish that's mentioned at the end is a dog. And it has a visual aspect in the sense that it begins with minuscules with lowercase letters and ends with capitals, both the title and each line. It goes like this. God, someone there beside me, or if not beside me, near, which yields, which hears, and will grant my wish. Let me have what I want, desiring not because I am selfish, but because he, she, it, they are kind. A being rendered in the style of Jean-Dominique Ang, copious in attention to detail. A being there beside me, with a hyphen, more or less, the true aristocrat, Mr. Being There, the being there at the height of the stairs, who knows when I arrive, leaves when I do, yet remains behind, and who, delight as prodigal, appreciative like Tavish, the Scottish terrier that proved God exists when I was yet a child, always rolls the ball down.
Okay, that was nice, Jack. All right.
Exactly.
See,
Thank you.
If Benedicta approves, man.
All right.
You're on, man.
Well,
all right.
Thank you.
She's our
I'm
quality.
100% awake now.
Benedicta
Oh, you're
is
awake. Excellent. Now I have to control my.
Because Benedicta is our quality control agent.
Okay. And
thank you, Moy.
So now I'd like to read this, which is called aphelion, which is the point farthest from the sun relative to a planet that's orbiting around it. For instance, our own. Half moon, cleaved like a melon, sight unseen. Breeze through these mean streets moves, cool to one side, other molten mirage. Une nuit celluloide, a movie still, hotter than blazes this cliched July. Cinema, inferno. Steadfast as sidewalks, ink awash on the page will not dry. I cultivate rectitude, going about the city alone, species reconnoiter of summer dress, sweet, cotton, particular, clinging, a benevolent transformation the Gorgons would have dreamed, turning themselves into Liberty Bells. And I open a crack. Geometry in beauty, mountain in math rise above, feeling no interference from the sky. Ideal, the eyes may face, the sun show west, the moon continue to climb. Biology, what difference if influence with the tides ride the world over and leave little changed? Commonality cease to accept its faith.
That's good.
Thank you, Benedict.
Yeah, Bennett, quality
You're
control
welcome.
all the way. All right.
It's indeed a cliche.
What? What cliche?
I said it's indeed a cliche.
Ah, I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So Jack, come back with 3 times the charm.
Okay. All right. This is a poem called Demythed, which is kind of timely in the sense that in my country of origin, there's soaring unemployment, and it was written. I wrote it at a time when I felt quite hopeless, trying to find employment myself, and feeling that basically all my surrounding circumstances were just deaf to my aspiration to everything. It's called Demythed. Monumental melancholy, mansion, trees, plein air miracle of the natural world. Hudson dormant beneath its waves and breeze invisible, astounding width, the length across it. Everything, even the people surround me, dwarfs my means, my intelligence, intentions fulfill. No job seems imaginable, task too menial, not least ineligible. I'm cut out only for idleness, self-devised, privately implemented. In that, full ready stands quiet invention, Hephaestus at the forge, God's alone assay.
All right,
Well
Jack.
done.
Well done. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. And now I'd like to call on another Parisian, Claire Andriani. Claire, are you there?
I'm
Well, then let's.
here.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Can we see?
Claire.
Hi, Mo.
Hi, Claire. Can we see your face?
Well, it's gonna. I'm trying. Sometimes it goes off and on and off and on. Wait.
Okay.
Can you see me? No.
No.
Wait.
There you are. There you are.
I don't know. You can see me?
Yes.
Why isn't it working?
It is working.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see myself. Okay. So I have a poem for you. Wait. Oh no.
Do you want to come
Mo,
back later?
can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you loud and clear.
Now I have an English poem for you, one that I wrote today.
Great.
Okay. So it's called What It Takes to Write. Being patient, listening to the rainbows, and accept your weaknesses and absurdities. Reject everything that is cheap, torn images, colors that speak. Be brave and discover 1,000 nights into the night. A mirror facing itself, a chaos in black print, tolerating the man smoking his cigar, loving the man talking to himself, banishing that, loving yourself, banish the word banish, accept and embrace slowness. Look at the smoke vanishing outside and stop everything. Be totally, entirely there and yet being nowhere. Embracing contradiction, learning to look at the empty space, letting the pencil give you a voice, let it speak, feeling like a child in the body of an adult, giving yourself the luxury to replace what is unspeakable, giving yourself the credit to be and say it. So that's one.
And saying what is unspeakable. Yes, writer. Yes.
letting the pencil
Yeah, thank you.
give you words. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, how was the
Um,
pencil able to give you a voice with all the contradictions?
it just follows its course, and sometimes it seems to speak instead of me. Sometimes, you know, the body goes on. I don't know if you experienced this, but sometimes you think, oh, I can't think of anything to write about. But when you start the gesture of writing, you take the pencil, it goes somewhere, and then you just follow it.
Okay, so
Exactly,
it's from the
yeah.
innermost being.
And that's the voice. That's the voice.
And that's the
That's good.
muse.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, Claire, let's hear some more.
Yeah. Wait, I'm doubting. I don't remember if I already said this one. If I already, yeah, I don't think so. I wrote that in a park after spending a day with someone I really loved. So it starts in French and then it ends in English. Les branches de cet arbre semblent vouloir me recueillir, imitating the shape of a hand with claws, ready to recollect the feelings of a past that cannot be. Winking at the present, talk in silence seem to say, let it be, murmuring behind my shoulder, the wind, his friend, always. Nature calls like the sea would bring a boat in the middle of an immense ocean. Desert, I cannot help it. I wish your hands were these branches. You have the hands of an artist. I am the wind. Nobody can grasp me. The grass beneath my feet helps me keep standing. My feet apart seem to tell me to go on. The path is near already.
Okay.
So that was my
That's
second
good.
one.
All right. And do you have the three is a charm? Claire goes deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Afternoon in the park. It's a sequence of images that appeared to me, and I wanted to render the experience of these images the best I could. So I cut them into parts. So afternoon in the park, and it starts like this. 1, disappearing in nature. I'm that right now.
Unmute, Claire.
Okay. Yeah, it stopped. I don't know why. So 1, disappearing in nature. I'm that right now, sitting on the grass. 2, the branches bending along the way point the direction to the wind. 3, a shadow of light or stain on the green drape hill blankets like a cover. 4, a white dog on the valley across barking. 5, red low trees like cherries bending. 6, and the grass flying in the wind. That's
All
it.
right. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Claire. That was good. Really good and deep. That second poem, whoa, girl. Dig this, everybody. Claire is writing and reading in her second language. So let's give you kudos for that ability as well. We are a World Cafe.
Kudos, Claire. Kudos.
And now I would like to go again, cross the Atlantic and go back to Brooklyn and bring on Prince McNally. Uh-oh.
Prince.
Prince, you got some real deep audio interference.
Either that or you're in the middle of a hurricane.
Right.
How's that?
That's Prince. I know who that. How's that? That'd be Prince.
All right.
All right.
Let's get this. Try to. Can't get to the piece that I want. I don't know what's going on. What? Okay, we'll go with this. Okay, this piece is called Beautiful Dreamers. It's inspired by my childhood. I spent some time in North Carolina. And so this piece was inspired by it. I remember as a child during cool summer nights in the beautiful countryside of Burgon, North Carolina. We would lay for hours beneath the blanket of the warm and summery sky amidst the nocturnal chatter of chirping frogs and singing crickets. We counted the constellations with starry eyes and anxious spirits. We may have just been children, but the moment we fell into our dreams, we became something special, something beautiful. We became beautiful dreamers, transforming ourselves from caterpillars to butterflies. We became forward thinkers, shapers, and shifters of a bold and exciting new world. Oh, how we yearned to fly as we proceeded to wrap our brains around the hypothetical scenarios. Stretching our vivid imaginations, we sprouted immaculate wings, lifting us to urgent flight. So serenely we soared, slicing effortlessly through the cutting wind with the perfect precision of a falcon and the powerful passion of the majestic eagle. As we steadily rose to this propitious occasion, the air raced hurriedly through our lungs, causing the oxygen to rush through our veins with the burning desire of hungry flames. We could barely catch our breath, for with every passing moment, we climbed higher and higher towards the welcoming stars until we could literally taste the sweet freedom of our immortality, exhaling gravity's hold upon our restless souls, singing glory, hallelujah, as we painted the sky blue horizon with the tips of our virtuous tongues. We earnestly scribed of rhyme and reason, for there's a perfect reason why we're here. And there's a perfect season when we must all transition back to the essence of our beginning and begin again. Through the trials of life and vigorous application, I have come to learn that wisdom often speaks with a silent tongue. For one's journey through life can be so celestially blessed, brushed by the sweeping hands of grace, and yet it can also be quite cruel and staggering. For the cycle of life shall always prevail with a heavy heart, bearing the offering of rain as we pour our libations for those who have fallen, while time is moving ever forward with the impatience of youth toward no particular goal other than the constant of perpetual motion. And thus time greets us in each and every moment, bearing a childlike grin, eagerly relishing the coming of tomorrow's beautiful unknowing.
I like that. Tomorrow's beautiful unknown, among other things you said. Okay, Prince. How about a second one, Mr. Prince?
Second piece. This is called The Echoes of Our Reverie. At the height of old sweet reverie, an orange-gray sunset brightly upon us. And as I hold you from behind, my chest firmly pressed against your warm, glowing flesh, I can feel your eyes smiling with an abundance of joy, while swift and gentle kisses fall heavily upon the softness of your neck and shoulders like a cool spring rain. And as I wrap my arms around your waist, a tiny bead of sweat hastily rolls down the silky smoothness of your belly, eager to greet my waiting palms. Palms so eager to caress you, arms so eager to protect you, mi amor. So close your eyes as I slowly rock you to sleep in the sweet of this most delicious reverie, as I kiss you like you've never been kissed before. Close your eyes and let my words caress you. Let my words caress you in beautiful places, places untraveled and untouched, places where the most unfathomable pleasure exists. For my love will persist until your heartbeat reaches such an urgency you can take no more. For we are in the moment, and you are mine now. So let go of your pain. Let go of all your worries and fears, for with each lingering kiss, I will plant a seed of hope and wonder upon the soil of your wanted skin. For this is where the true love making begins. Let me slowly run my fingers through your garden. I want to know who you are, for I wish to explore every single morsel of you with my fingers, telling me what my eyes can't see, like the blind, gently tracing my fingers along the soft, silky, smooth curvature of your body, anxiously reading your goosebumps like braille. I can see the future dressed in the divine colors of your aura. When suddenly a southern breeze ushers past me, bellowing the echoes of our reverie, causing my soul to whisper, whispering your name. Can you hear me? Can you feel me, mi amor? In peace.
All right. I think she feels you, Prince. I definitely
Yes,
think
I
she
do.
feels you. There you go. Thank you, Benedicta. Was that three? You just knocked me off my rock. Was that three? Did you do three, or are you up for a third one, Prince?
I'll sit with that.
Well, all right. Well, that sits real well in my head. So thank you.
Brother.
Okay, so I think it's my turn. I think if I'm not correct, I'm the last poet in this round. Now, I opened the round with a nice piece by Steve Delashinsky that we shared, about 16 months ago, called Your Hands. Now I'm going to read, you know what? Now I'm going to read one of a different nature. And this is one that I shared with Steve Cannon and Ismail Reed when we were in Paris several years ago for what was called African Americans in Paris and One White Guy. This is called Bee in the Bop. Put the bee in the bop in your pocket. Get up and get go. Take off. You're a rocket. Put some pride in your stride. Sun and moon, stars in your eyes. Step out on the good foot. Stars in the heavens, the cosmos, your guide. We've been battered and beaten and whipped and chained and starved in lessons of torture. We torture ourselves, the beast who enslaves us. Let me lick clean my wounds and those of another. A fish in the sea, a bird in the sky. Sisters and brothers surround, lift up in song. Together we cry, abide with me, abide. If you need somebody, the hawk or the dove, wrap your wrap round the ones that you love. Seek it and read it and write it all down. Talk it over, walk it through. Now poem it aloud. Throw it up and down, in and out, around. Pass it, turn this thing inside out. Put the bee in the bop, spring in the hop, smile in the style. Show what you got.
That's good. Very, very good.
Well, thank you, Benedicta. And
You're welcome.
people reminded me this evening mentioning Steve Cannon, who died a few months before Steve Delishinsky. There you go. And let me say, being with him and with Ishmael Reed, who's a very serious novelist and one funny guy when you hang out with him, until his wife calls, then he's out of there like a bat out of hell. All right, here's my second and finishing poem for this round. And remember, stick around. We're going to do a second round. And this is people have talked about various atrocities committed in this world, and I've seen a few in my own backyard and abroad. And this is what I saw in Nicaragua, and it's called El Somocista and the Martyr. And the Somocista is a man after the direction of the dictator back then, Antonio Somoza. He was America's dictator in Managua. El Gallo, grand monster, gold plume, crimson crown, haunched on power thighs, razor talons, cocked and sharp, bayonet beak thrusting forward, onyx eyes jerk in their bony crypts of its hard bone skull, anxiously fixed on any life stirring through his domain. Springs forth a little brown chicken. Paralyzed in fear, she braces for the onslaught, prostrate beneath the ogre, pecked mercilessly about the neck, claws sunk in her breast. She succumbs to his sadistic whim and pleasure. Her face pressed to the dust, she hears the anguished shriek of a sparrow circling overhead, and looking up, she cries, "Before I go, tell them this. Now tell them all. I will gnaw at his ankles until he falls upon me. There will be no more cock in the barnyard." And that's it.
That's ideal.
Okay, well, thank you. And okay, so that is, well, thank you. So that's the end of the first round. Why don't we have a few minutes chat and prepare ourselves for a second round where we'll all come back and participate again. So if anybody has any questions about anybody, now's a good time, as we have two poets in tonight. Origin Albania, which is something new for our information, and let's see, Vicky got her voice back tonight, and Benedicta's got a clear signal back home. So
thank you.
Well, you're welcome, darling. So and I also want to say hi again to the doc. His first time here, the poet laureate of South Euclid, Ohio, the recent site of the World Olympic Games, or something like that. So let's come back in a few minutes and start all over again. Thank you, Mo, for holding on.
Thank you, Mom.
My pleasure.
Okay, well, we've got a lot of messages in the message box, so don't be shy. There was a lot of great feedback tonight because there were a lot of great poems. So anyway, I throw it open.
I absolutely loved the performance list, and I was actually curious, Prince, what part of North Carolina were you at?
Place called it's a blanket town called Burgor, North Carolina. It's not too far from Raleigh or Fayetteville.
Okay.
And you have family there, or was it just by chance you went there?
Oh no, I had my grandpa lived there, and I had aunts, and actually that's where my mom was born. So yeah, we have family. We still.
So you got NC blood. You got.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. All right.
Sir.
Okay.
A veil between a peak of pride and the peak of prejudice. You heard that?
Peak of pride and peak of prejudice. What's that? Never heard of it.
Interesting.
A veil between a peak of pride and the peak of prejudice. Virginia and South Carolina.
An interesting note.
Okay, and yeah, go on.
My mother's maiden name is Lemont.
Okay.
It's really interesting, and there's a lot of us. I'm telling you, there's a lot of us. And my aunts and uncles, because my mom was my grandfather's first child, as far as we know. But my aunts and uncles, they were actually raised for a few years in France because he was in the army. He was like a master sergeant in the army there. So they actually still have French citizenry.
Well, I have a lifelong friend who moved to his family spread in North Carolina. He left the projects of Pittsburgh for the Treadwell place in isolated North Carolina. All I know is isolated North Carolina, and he says the same thing. What he his name is Walter, and what Walter reports to me lately is with, sorry to, politics, but he says with all this Trump stuff going around where he's encouraging his fellow hee-haws, to start shit with people. You know what I'm talking about, what happened with those shootings, stuff like that down south where they just ride up on somebody. Shoot. So he was initially in good stead because he could talk shotgun with the hee-haws. And if you can talk shotgun with the hee-haws, he said, then you're in good stead. Now he reports he's put the place up for sale and wants to get out of there soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a motivated seller.
Yeah.
Kind of increasingly, Mo, I've heard of some folk who are on the right side of politics or even further. Some of them are losing their fan base and popularity right now. So when they say the United States is changing, you better believe it.
I bet.
We can hope.
But let's just say I would not be surprised if some of those hee-haws were thinking that they got the signal to act out with, Trump and other people's approval.
Sure.
He did say, you know what to do. Huh?
Yeah.
That he did.
So anyway, I hope Walter does sell the place, because guess what, people? He don't want to go back to Pittsburgh where he was born. He wants to come to Paris. And I told him, get your passport, get yourself a plane ticket, come to Paris and start out in my spare bedroom so we can get you established in France. Because that's how that can work.
Nice.
Yeah, that, and also too, to add to that, Brother Mo, I hate to even say it. I said this yesterday, but if number 45 happens to win again, there will be a lot more people thinking that on that same wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah, because one day it's Dodge City, and then for some unfortunate, the next morning it's Tombstone territory.
They might be thinking on that level, but you got to remember the passport laws have been changed in most states. You have to check and see what they are because you have to go through extra length now to get a passport to leave here.
Yeah, that's true.
And in an unprecedented, basically, Americans back in the old days, they were like you could go anywhere, but now because of what's happening with the pandemic, and I'm sorry to bring us back to the pandemic, but a lot of countries are very, very reluctant to accept people coming in from America.
Yeah. Primarily because the pandemic is still ravishing populations through the country, and these people know about it. And following that, a lot of people are no longer having sympathy for the crisis by Americans, because what they report to us over here is simply, how did you let this president be president, and how did you let all this happen? And either you're suffering from an unmanaged pandemic, or you're suffering from police murders in full view of video cameras, or it ain't one thing after another with a downhill slide. Is pretty much the reaction coming from. I mean, I was told by two people that just heard me talking, my voice carries, and one of them turned around and said, "Get out of my country. We don't want you Americans."
I can agree with just being not, it used to be the ugly American, now it's just the stupid American. How did you let this go this far and still not doing anything about it? I mean, you can't be less intelligent than Donald Trump, can you?
That's going deep.
You could be one of his voters.
Well, here's the thing that I have with that, and some people should know better, but they get on their high horses. There are a lot of intelligent people in this country that are far to the left and don't think near any right wing or whatever in this country. So that blanket statement doesn't help at all when it comes to we Americans. I rarely even say, America, because I know there's a North America, a South America, a Central America. So it's too bad that we have that kind of sentiment going on in different places.
Yeah.
What I mean is the fact that people are just too shallow in this country. I'm not talking about the outside of this country. I'm talking about the ones that vote, the ones that allow this to continue, the ones that allowed it to happen in the first place, the ones that have the power to change it and don't. Those are the people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this was all, in a sense, set up by the so-called founding fathers, who were all at that time British nationals and thinking along the same lines as the Brits, divide and conquer, which they learned in spades from the Romans.
And divide and conquer too is something that is not good.
Yeah, they do it well over here.
It comes with all the appetite and everything.
Yeah, but
racism and stuff.
You know what is excruciating to me? I recall there was this old man. Well, we were sitting. I was in South Carolina at the time, and there was this old man. Like, he was just talking about very good social sentiments about what would heal the country if people learned how to have a conversation again, and that kind of talk. And he was talking about the virtues of listening and whatnot. Then this young kid comes up and he's like, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to play. What was it? Placate? Is that the word? Placate?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Placate the other person just to have him. You know. I'm just gonna say what I want, and if he doesn't like it, he can go fuck off. And I'm like, well, you know. If dialogue, if that's the spirit of the youth today, then you know, it's just doom. Like the art. If the art of dialogue is lost, then what is there to claim?
Conflict, confrontation, and conflict, like we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm. Anyway, it's not all the youth in America. There were large numbers of youth highly motivated when the primary season began with the Democrats, and they were really high on Bernie Sanders and the Squad and other people, and so that was good news because they reached their apathetic low point a few years ago, as polls suggested, and then Bernie came around for a second run. And all these activists began to want to refurbish the Democrats with modern thinking, with 21st century thought. And so I don't endure, I'm not speaking up 100% for all of it, but it was certainly they were doing a forward lean. So that in defense.
Unfortunately, a good percentage of those who were for Bernie or for Buttigieg or other candidates are now saying because it's Biden, they won't even bother to vote for him.
Well,
which
I
is
think
essentially a vote for the orange one.
Well, I think there's a population like that, true, but while they're getting really covered well by the mainstream, I think they're at this point a minority. I think Trump is so detested by so many people that are some degrees away from the right that I think they see the dangers, whatever their disappointments with the corrupt Democrats. They see the dangers of a second Trump administration, and I think they will vote.
I can only hope.
And
Okay.
Mr. Janning, one more thing too.
It's not Mr., it's Doc.
or Doc. Do you see his poll numbers? So you look at his poll numbers, he's not doing good at all.
I see his poll numbers sinking, but polls always remind me of a book I read many, many years ago, How to Lie with Statistics.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
Hillary still has that nightmare.
What? What? What?
Bill, you son of a bitch! I can hear Bill, you son of a bitch.
If she hears the word college, she'll go into conniptions.
You told me, Bill. You told me, Bill.
You don't say.
We should have known she was going to lose as soon as she used the word deplorable.
Or whatever. I don't even want to get into the Hillary mess. I tell you, that's one gangster that almost won the White House. Hey, God bless.
Why is that women always have a problem when it comes to politics? Like the men don't support the women so much.
That is a Pandora's box not worth opening.
It is.
Yeah, really. How about another? Let's open another box now, because I'm looking at the clock, and I think what we need to do now is come back and express ourselves in the second round. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right. Because we could run down these topics till the cows come home. Okay. I would like to start the second round again by asking the doc to come on. Hello, Doc. And what we're asking in the second round is 2 poems, please.
2 poems. Okay. Let me bring this up a little further. There we go. I am the warm, enveloping darkness the sensuous feel of the gentle breeze, and the light of the moon on your soft body. I am the sparkling starlight of the sky, gleaming in your glittering, shining eyes, and the glowing halo for your silken hair. I am the refreshing falling dewdrop, moistening and cooling your warm, smooth skin, and the trickling droplets in your guarded veils. I am the firm guide strength of gravity, holding you gently in a soft embrace, and binding your heart in a gossamer web. I am the great horned stag of the night, piercing you deeply, stirring your soul, bringing love's fragrant, enveloping unguent. I am the rushing stream in the moon glow, embracing, washing over and within, bearing now all the untold treasures of love. I am passion, which fires both heart and soul to bring about unbridled, a blushing joy, and the shining glow to light you to your sleep. I am the night.
Wow. Very nice. Thank you, Doc. Boy, I'd like to take that vision to sleep with me tonight. That's cool. The night. Come night and be comfortable. Yeah, have a second one, please.
Okay. Land wakes with smiles to silken touch of dawn and smoldering kiss of sun on dimpled hills. As boughs spread, embrace enfolding day, as it ignites forests, verdant darkness, and shimmering rivers pulsing flow, midst ecstatic song of wind's soft honeyed lips, crying joy into endless arching bliss of sky. Thank you.
All right. That's what you call sustainable ecology, Doc. I'd go with that. All right, thank you, and welcome on board for your first time here. You've certainly proven you can write a poem. All right, I want to stay in Ohio. I want to stay in Ohio and get on the road to Columbus and call on Miss Karen Scott. Muted.
All right, yeah, I had to find it. And the mouse wasn't cooperating.
That's what I say too.
I know. I'm just going to do one, and it's from a poet who's very near and dear to my heart. It started with bricks, shattered window like safety, broken glass dishes like the ones I dropped at my parents' house when I was still small. You can't answer faceless notes. I can't flows empty into no ears at all. Go back to your country. I laugh it off in front of my daughter. She is beautiful, tall, strong. A tree growing in unwelcoming soil. We have no choice. We were shatterproof glass, huddled masses yearning to breathe free. My daughters, I am so tired. I lose self under metal. They made me not woman, mother, and human. I was terrorist, I was bruised, sick to my stomach, and stop, and help, and please stop. Someone has created a nothing out of me. I was teenage boy, I was a bag of Skittles, can of tea. I walked home slowly in the soft rain. My little brother, he laughed. My mother smiled at me. I became screams for help, became suspicious. Those assholes always get away. I am raindrops, startled phone calls, and screams. My 17 years came down to one gunshot. Someone has made a nothing out of me. We are anger across computer screens, demonstrating on college campuses, tears of people we would never have met. We are all souls. We have the same blood running through our veins, falling on the ground. We are built on compassion and survival, but we have made ourselves monster. We are scrape and grind and teeth and fist and weapon. We are not pain. We were meant for more. We are love and the pounding of drums. We are love and no more hurting. We are love and life and stop and look at me. I refuse to be villain, and I will not be victim. You are hero. We are beauty and fire. We are not killers and racists and screaming in the streets. We will not be dying in hospitals and at the hands of those who are supposed to love us. I am blessed enough to sit down and ponder the atrocities that befall my brothers and sisters, and I will stand by no more. This is the point in history where the people looked inside themselves and knew they were better than what they had become. This is the part of the story where we, rubbing sleep from our eyes, can stand side by side, smile, and unclench our fist to open our hands. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
That was written by my daughter.
Your daughter wrote that?
Yeah, in 2012. She's a poet.
Well, you need to get her on and contribute with us.
I've been trying. I'll keep working at it.
Okay, well, you know.
You
just tell her as the
Bill.
Well, you can add that you can tell her as the host. You know, I certainly welcome her on. If she,
all right, will do.
tell her the world needs to hear her, and if she comes on this screen, she'll be putting it out beyond our borders.
That's true.
Yes, it is. Okay, beyond our borders, Ermira, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yes, I have two poems here. The one is called The Existence. Blossoming fresh every morning like a lotus flower, blinking the eyelids and waking up by touching the dawn, while the eyeballs kissing the vastness of the light. Waking and feeling the joy of being alive. Living through the day and experience the joy of living, the thunders, the storms, the earthquakes, the adversity that brings shakings, and awakens me as much as the labor of a childbirth. Still standing up and building up, being grabbed and infused by the strength that lies beneath and beyond, and yet blooming peacefully as a sacred lotus, with petals of purity not rammed by waterspouts. Sleeping is falling in quietness and stillness and darkness of the other side of our existence. Being born, thus waking up, living through the experience, and dying, thus sleeping in stillness, are the matching pieces of a puzzle named as our known but unknown existence. Still blossoming fresh every morning, a sacred lotus, breathing within our lives' unending cycles.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. And do you have a second one for us, Ermira?
I do. It's a little bit long and I would say a little bit blistering. So its title is Our Complicated Ego. I'm going to read it.
That's a little bit long. You right on that.
Exactly. Being together with you in this room is like looking at a convex mirror. I keep telling you to drop the negative focal length of your attitude that persists diverging the light away. Hence, the walls agree to me, witnessing your game. Your piercing eye as a blazed sword rushes to cut the neural cord in my brain that connects my thoughts and language. just to trick and dump my tongue loose in your trap of absurd gibberish. Instead, as a Victorian woman of modern times, a renewed character of Virginia Woolf, in my subconscious mind, I call my resistance to prison my thoughts in my mind's cage, while holding my breath in the lungs detention and handcuffing that moving pedal of flesh in the cell between the jaws walls, not to release a corrupted word. On the back of shining surface of your mirror, the dark, gloomy side of the poisonous mercury of your thoughts raises its head and depicts my face as misshaped, diverging, and demeaning its beauty. I can see your shadow, a montage-like imprint of your character, hidden behind the glass of your convex mirror. It's just the power of my third eye in action that you can hardly grasp. Unfortunately, your pattern walks in front of me every day. I look at it and shake my head. Silence wraps my essence in a monologue. How can ego shine so brightly in an inverse mode and eat you like an apple, bite after bite, until there is no more flesh left, but the hard core protecting the seeds in the submerge. Your selfish teeth lack the courage to break the hard substance. They carry fear, but I don't. It's called resistance to corruption. I offer you my tower of power built on quietness and peace. Instead of reacting to your muddy thoughts, I dwell inside myself quietly and offer you the silent companion who starts eating the edges of stillness bit by bit, crunch by crunch, as if I'm eating the apple of silence in the brink of its existence, until I reach the depth and touch the hard core of myself, sheltering the seeds of hope and rebirth. I meet and hear the solar plexus speaking to me and responding to your scornful thoughts. That core remains untouched to recreate. Can you hear it? If you don't, reverse your hearing and listen. My silence is the stronghold that fails you. You cannot scramble or tear it down or undo my fine soul. Thus your ego can never undo me. My untouched core rejects you loudly. Even if you dare to rip off my skin and grind my bones into powder, even if you throw me under the bench or railway track or barbecue my flesh and throw it to hordes of lions, or drink my blood as the rarest tasteful wine in a cup made of Japanese porcelain that you used to water roses, the only humans you cared for, even if you dare to turn me into ashes, my pure soul will rise again like a phoenix and fly to burn your piercing look and melt the venom metal of your mirror. Then there will be quietness in the room. The walls will cheer up and smile in your absence. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And this is the first time I'm reading this poem, actually. I just wrote it a week ago.
Okay. Fresh out the oven, huh? All right. Okay, now I see Mo, do you want to come on and do something behind that quiet photo you have there?
I'm actually heading out. I'm really, really tired.
Okay, because in your part of the world right now, what happened to our friend from Saudi Arabia? Oh, she left the screen. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's too bad. We had her, and we had, our other Semaher was here tonight earlier from Yemen. Yeah. So they're not here to join us in this round. That's too bad. Okay, well, Mo, if you gotta go, you gotta go, and let's everybody give Mo a thanks for being technical man to get this, make sure we're all on here. So sleep well tonight, Mo. Sleep well.
All right, man. Just being
Thanks,
your
Mo.
host Thanks,
Nighty.
everybody.
Love.
Lovely
Thank you.
poetry. Loved it. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Okay.
All night, miss.